All right, so I'm sure you've all heard the story by now, right? There's no demand. There's no demand for Tesla vehicles. They have massive inventory just sitting there. No buyers wanting to buy their cars. I'm sure you've seen all the tweets, right? The tweets with the little images showing Tesla's inventory 12 months ago versus what it was a month ago. It's disaster. I mean, all of these tweets and all of this information kind of ignored the fact that Tesla sales increased by, what, 40% in 2022? Guess what? Volkswagen sales. How much did they go up in 2022? Now, I made a video about that. That's a rhetorical question. I'm hoping you saw my video. Might give you a bit of context. What about BMW? I mean, they killed it in 2022, didn't they? That's what the media said. Did their sales go up or go down? What about Mercedes? What about Audi? Did any of them increase their sales in 2022 even by 1%? Or did they all go down? What about Honda, right? Massive. They're so powerful. People love the Honda vehicles, don't they? Did their sales go up in 2022? Or did they collapse? Well, we all know now. They shrunk massively. Now, one point I want to make to you. Why was the Tesla Model Y or the Model 3 the best-selling car in every major European automotive market in December? And possibly, I think, a lot of them in November and October, if there's no demand? That was when these Tesla vehicles were very expensive, and they were, especially in comparison to what you get them for in China. Now, at any rate, since Tesla reduced the prices of its cars significantly, demand is through the roof. Here's an example. Chinese media, state-owned media, crazy. They reported Tesla sold more than 30,000 vehicles in 3 days in China. Imagine if that kept up for the entire month of January. That would be 300,000 sales for the month. That would beat any month ever that BYD's ever had. But that would be just for one single country. Obviously Tesla makes cars in the US and Germany as well. Now, when you actually look at this a bit closer, it's not really what I'm saying. In fact, the issue is much, much worse for Tesla's competition. The reason being, in most countries around the world, Tesla vehicles did not qualify for EV incentives. That was the case in Australia, where now the Model 3 qualifies. That was the case in the US, where now all their cars, or at least their volume cars, Model 3s and Model Ys, qualify. That was the case in Canada, where their vehicles didn't qualify for incentives either. Now they do. What about the Netherlands? Same thing. Now you can look at this data. You can see in many countries around the world, Tesla vehicles now qualify for electric vehicle incentives when they didn't before, meaning these discounts from Tesla are actually far greater than they originally appear. For example, the Tesla Model Y, you could only get one for around $65,000 US in the United States last year. Now, with this EV incentive, you can get one for under $43,000 US. That's a $17,000 US decrease. Now, if you look in Europe, the prices of Tesla's vehicles have declined by up to 23% when there was already massive demand for those cars in Europe, as I've just outlined. Now, what about China? Well, the same thing applies. Tesla Model Y now actually qualifies for many incentives, which you haven't probably heard about because those incentives are generally state-based. And the media never really talks about those. It doesn't really understand those. However, suffice to say, you can get a Tesla Model Y now for around $35,000 US in many Chinese cities. Model 3, around $30,000 US. Now, Merchants Bank says that China's average daily sales have increased by 76% after they cut their prices. However, that bogus information is based off the equally bogus information that keeps being published by the media about the insurance data. Now, I've looked at this insurance data every month, and I did that for months and months and months, and I completely wasted my time because it never matches sales. It never, ever matches sales. I don't know how they report this stuff and claim that those are actual sales just because a car got insured and they had that data. You think it would be relevant, right? You would think that'd be correct, but unfortunately, it never is. Why? because the reality is Tesla doesn't just sell vehicles in China, right? The majority of automakers that are in this list, the list is just for their cars that they're predominantly selling them in China. Now, that's going to change in the future, but in the current present, more than 95% of their cars are being sold in China. So therefore, these insurance registrations are valid. But because Tesla sells a very large percentage of their cars that they make in China outside of China, it means their actual numbers are completely distorted. That and the fact that they never seem to match anyway, regardless of that logic that I've just presented to you, means Tesla sales in China have probably increased by well over 100% versus December. Now, also worth pointing out is what Reuters just had to say. Electric vehicles in China increased by 36.5%. In the same week, that auto sales, as in overall auto market, contracted by 14.5%. So the auto market's shrinking. EV sales increased by 37% in a single week. My friends, this is disruption. The gasoline-powered vehicle market in China is dominated, and I mean dominated by, you know who? Toyota, Nissan, Volkswagen, and a bunch of other German automakers and Japanese automakers. It's dominated by them. The electric vehicle auto market in China is dominated by who exactly? Well, you all know Tesla, NIO, XPeng, Leapmotor, Geely, SAIC, pretty much all non-European, non-Japanese, non-US automakers. So what do you think is happening? Well, this is the greatest disruption in history. The Chinese government came up with a way that they thought they could get back their own automotive industry while crushing the rest of the world at the same time, empowering their own automakers, along with Tesla in the process, to be able to dominate globally by making affordably priced vehicles that foreign automakers could not compete with. And that's where we're at today. Realistically, Tesla is producing a lot more EVs in China than any other foreign automotive company, and that gives them a huge advantage. Why? Because Tesla's cost to produce EVs in China is a lot lower than Volkswagen's cost to produce EVs in Europe. And by the way, around 60% of Tesla sales worldwide are vehicles manufactured in China. That's a huge advantage. Tesla's VP Grace Tao had this to say. In the past, Tesla has made several larger price adjustments due to external factors that have had an impact on costs. For example, when we became a domestic Chinese automaker, the prices of our cars naturally decreased compared to a pure import. At least the tariff was saved by 15%. For example, after our supply chain stabilized, it would definitely be lower than before when it was shipped from abroad. Tesla's supply chain localization rate is now 95% at Shanghai. Theoretically, there is not much room for improvement. Therefore, I think after this price adjustment, the price should be relatively stable, said Tesla's VP Grace Tao. Now, there's one thing she didn't mention to you. That is the coming onslaught of hybrid lithium-sodium powered batteries, the M3P battery, and the pack density improvements coming soon to Tesla's structural battery packs in China. In fact, those packs and those changes are only months away. And my friends, maybe Tesla won't reduce the price of its vehicles, but it will reduce the cost for Tesla to actually manufacture them. Now let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep in mind as well, who was the first large foreign automaker to deploy LFP batteries? Which of Tesla's competitors outside of China are even doing it today, now that Tesla's been doing it for so long? Well, I can tell you, none of them. Why? I have no idea. Maybe they're like the Titanic, drifting slowly along in the ocean, until all of a sudden, they smash right into an iceberg, and they go bankrupt. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.